What's up, guys? Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Brad. I make videos with tips and motivation on how to get out of debt, how to stay positive, and follow my path to financial independence. If that sounds like something that might be your thing, consider subscribing and hit that bell notification so you get told every single time I release a video or go live. The subscriber base has just been exploding recently, and I just want to say thank you. It's really humbling, and it really drives and motivates me to keep making great content for you guys. Whether you're new to a debt-free journey or been working on it for weeks or even years, you've definitely come on here or heard tips from people that have helped them be successful. I fully admit, I wouldn't be where I am 21 months into my debt-free journey if I had not gotten the advice from others. The thing is, sometimes that advice can become a little bit generic and kind of hear the same thing over and over again. So today, I want to give you a couple of untold tips that are going to help you get through this debt-free journey, especially if you got a long way to go. Things that people never really told me that I kind of had to figure out on my own, that if I would have known before, probably would have made my life just a little bit better. I want to take you inside my last 21 months, exactly what I've done, how much I've paid, the good, the bad, the ugly. Full transparency here, and I want to show you exactly how much I've paid off in that time and how that compares to my income as well. The first tip I have for you before we jump into the numbers is to start to write things down. Whether you're just starting your debt-free journey or you're a couple months in, I can assure you that keeping track and writing things down and going back and being able to see things on paper has kept me so motivated over the last 21 months. When we don't write things down, we tend to focus on the now and we don't see a big picture. And this especially happens if you're having a bad month. So my advice to you is start to write things down. Over time, you'll keep track of more things, but besides your budgeting, keep track of things like your net worth and how good you're doing. How much are you paying towards your debt? These things will really help you in the long term. An untold truth that has not been told to me is that it must start with major communication. And I'm not even saying that this needs to be communication between you and your spouse. Sometimes this communication needs to happen with you and yourself. Sometimes you need to look in the mirror and know that this is going to be for you. You are not going to last the grind of a long debt-free journey if you don't have a hard and long conversation with yourself about what your short, medium, and long-term goals are. That's a tip somebody ever told me. Nobody ever told me I had to look in the mirror and make that change. Nobody told me that I needed that aha moment to get there. Now, granted, I have a spouse, I have a wife, so I had to talk to her. But guys, before you worry about communicating this to your spouse, communicate it to yourself first. It's a major tip that I wish I would have known because I jumped in thinking that I had to change everything around me. And it wasn't for a couple months that I realized I really needed to change myself. And that's when I really started to see success in my debt-free journey. The first thing that really frustrated me when I started my debt-free journey was going online and not finding anybody with my particular situation. Everybody talked in dollars and cents, and that was really unrelatable for me. We all make different amounts of money. We all have different financial situations. So first things first, before I show you the actual dollar amounts, I want to show you in terms of percentages. So you can look at how much of my income I was actually applying towards debt each month. Therefore, you can look at your percentages and see if we match up, regardless of how much money you make or I make. So the average over my 21 months has been about 44% of my income going towards my debts. Now, some would say that's high and some would say that's low. I'm not here to shit on anybody, so if that's good for you, it's good for me. That's made me really feel comfortable. And there's a couple months that I've highlighted here in yellow that I just want to talk about because you might have similar instances as well. You can see right in the beginning of my journey, I applied 105% to my debt, meaning I put more on my debt than I brought in that month. And here's exactly what happened, and I remember it. When I first started Dave Ramsey's Baby Steps, he told me that I needed to have $1,000 of an emergency fund. And frankly, that made my wife and I really uncomfortable. We had a ton of money in the bank. So that first month in September, we were kind of like, let's focus, let's get everything together, and let's discuss this over the course of a month and then see what happens. That second month, when we started to get a little bit of a routine going and we figured out a plan, we decided to take some money that we had in savings and apply that towards debt. So the extra money and how we got over 100% was money that we already had saved that we dropped down to lower the amount of money that we had in cash in the bank. The second one in January 2018 was when my daughter was born and we received a lot of gifts. Now, some people may say, like, you used your gift money for your daughter to pay off debt. You know, we're a family here and we really think that way. And we knew that getting out of debt was going to be a family decision and was going to better our family in the long haul. Not to mention, I'm very blessed to have a really big family. So we had things like diapers and other toys and books and a lot of things covered through Tyra's baby shower. So we didn't really need money to buy a lot of things for the baby. Granted, we did. But we applied most of her gifts and most of the money that we received towards our debt that month. Following short behind was in March of that month. You could see we put 96% of our income. What happened that month was when we got our tax return. And I'll talk a little bit about tax returns in a minute. And that last one that almost looks like a typo, that happened in March 2019. And that was when I received an inheritance from my father. Now, between that and also the tax return, I've gotten some emails and some DMs of people saying that, like, this is a fluke, like, you know, that I'm doing great because my dad passed away and I got an inheritance. I want to say this. It was a blessing that I got to get some inheritance from my father, but also think, like, I would definitely trade that back if I couldn't have my dad. But the point that I want to make to you is this, and here's the reason I put it on the spreadsheet. I had a choice of what I could have done with that money. I had a choice of what I could do with that extra inheritance and what I could do with that tax return. So the point here and the tip I'm trying to make you that maybe people don't always tell you is you're going to have to make some tough decisions when you come into money sometimes, and you can't think temporarily rich. You can't think I have a temporary boost in income. It's not a boost in income, all right? It's a blessing. So use it for the things that are going to help you in the long term. If you saw my video about how I paid off $61,000 of debt with my inheritance check, that was a really hard decision for my family and I to make. So it's not about I got an inheritance which made my debt-free journey easier. I can assure you that was not an easy decision. And in your debt-free journey, you might have some tough decisions to make as well. I beg you, think about them long, and think about the long term, not the short term. The tip is, use any extra money you get, wherever it comes from, whether it's from birthdays or holidays or inheritances or tax refunds. Put those on your debt. Let's knock that debt down. Now here we look at the actual dollar amounts and how much I paid off towards debt every single month. In the last 21 months, I've paid off $148,000 worth of debt. I'm just at about $150. I'm going to break it this month. And I average about $7,700 every single month that I put towards debt. Now, for some people, guys, that's a lot of money, or for some, that's not a lot. That's why I showed you the percentages. You have to do what works best for you. I wrote down that my total take-home income during that time was just under $200,000. And my monthly average income, therefore, was about $9,300. So that's where I came up with those percentages on that last sheet. And if we look at those big months, like I said, in that October, I had almost $10,000, all the way down to March, where last month or 2 months ago, wow, time is flying, I put $62,000 towards my debt. Let's take a look at how this compares to my minimums. When I started my debt snowball back in September 2017, the total amount of my debt minimums came out to $3,550. So every single month since September 2017, I've been paying $3,550 every single month. And where I can, I apply additional money on top of my snowball. And if you look down in the bottom right, it shows that I average about $4,000 more every single month. Now, granted, that is with those big inheritances and checks like that, which all balances itself out. But over the course of 21 months, I'm very, very happy putting $4,200 on my extra every single month. And my last tip, guys, and it kind of sums up everything. You need to take the good and the bad. And this goes back to communicating with yourself. This goes back to writing things down and keeping track so that you can see that not every single month is going to be cupcakes and butterflies. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. If we look at this chart right here, what this chart represents is the money on top of my minimums, okay? So not the sum of both. So this is the money on top of the minimums that I had. And before I really looked at this chart, I remember thinking to myself that every single month had to be a great month. Every single month I had to be putting some on top of my snowball. And we see there's 3 or 4 months here where I was under my minimums, where something happened and I barely even made my minimums. I couldn't put any extra money on top. And those were money that I was kind of strapped and I had to pay late fees. And guys, things come up in your life. And you need to understand that there's ups and downs. Look at some of these amazing months where the bar graph just skyrockets. But mostly it's a lot of give and a lot of take. Don't think that it has to be perfect every month. Don't think your budget needs to be perfect every month. Don't think that your side hustle has to be incredible every month. Think about today. Think about tomorrow and how you are going to be successful in that short term. And know that those short-term successes are going to lead to long-term success. Think about me. Just about $150,000 paid off in 21 months. And I'm a regular guy. I consider myself pretty frugal, pretty minimalist, but I am nowhere near some of the extremes. So I have confidence that you can have success too. I really hope that you can use this to take some of the stress off your debt-free journey and maybe motivate you if you're a little bit down to get back on the horse. I've been there and you'll be there, I promise. But just remember that the debt-free community and that I am here for you if you ever need anything. Drop down in the comments below. Let me know how you're doing. If you're new here, consider subscribing. We can get through this journey together. And until I see you on the next one, stay positive, work really, really hard, and always be kind to others. I hope you have yourself an amazing day and a better tomorrow.